So what we got here is an instrument cluster out of a Mack, an '06 Mack CHN, I think, 620. I think that's what it is anyway. The problem we're having with this instrument cluster is there's a short and it loses power. And all the gauges will go dead except for the air pressure, because that's mechanical. And that one there is the application pressure. But all the other gauges will go dead. And then when they reactivate, they give an alarm. It beeps. And you've got up here are your warning lights and your LED readout for your hours and miles. Everything goes dead. And then so you'll be driving along. It won't kill the motor. You'll be driving along and this thing is beep, and you notice and all your gauges are coming back up and it's dead, and it beeps again and comes back up and then it's dead. Sometimes it'll stay dead for a long period of time, but more often than not it just intermittent. It flashes dead and then comes back on. So obviously there's a short circuit. I checked the power supply relay, or the breaker in the breaker panel, and the breaker seems to be good. I swapped it with one I knew was good. I checked the voltage in the breaker panel, and that voltage was good, and the breaker is not opening and closing, and it's still supplying power to the instrument head. So on the back of the instrument head there's this connector, and I checked this connector in the wiring harness, the piece that plugs into here. I checked that on the wiring harness, and when the gauges go dead I still have power at the wiring harness. So it's not a problem in the truck, it's not a problem in the cab, it's not a problem in the breaker panel, it's a problem in here. And I got to looking at this, and it looked to me, so what I did was I pulled the connector out, and on the truck side of this connector I checked all these pins for voltage, and there's about 6 of them that have voltage, but only one that loses voltage when you disconnect the circuit breaker, and that's this pin in the corner right here. And when I got to looking at this pin, it's probably not going to show up now because I've been messing with it, but this pin, it's the one on the right there, showed to be a little lower than the other pins, and it was a little loose. And so I don't know if I can get it to move now or not. You can kind of see it move a little bit there. The others don't move. The others, when you push on them, they don't move. But this one, when you push on it, it's got this loose piece of metal here also. I suspect that this pin has got a bad solder joint on the back of it. And it's this joint right here. And I don't see a ring around it, but it's got all this sealer on here, and I'd have to clean all that sealer off, and it would probably destroy it if there was a ring on there. But that one pin, will move very, very slightly, and it's hard to hear, but it makes a slight click. Nope, that was not it. That was just me slipping. I'll push it from the back side, maybe you'll hear it here. If I can find it there. There it was, a little bit of a click right there. Just a very slight click when you push on it. and it'll do it again from this side. You heard a double click there because I slipped off of it. But a very, very slight click. You can hear it right there. I believe that that's because that pin is loose in the solder. And I need to reflow that solder. So I'm going to have to scrape all this sealer off. I'm going to have to heat up that solder and mop it up and resolder that joint. And we'll see if that does it. So this is the inside of this panel. These are the stepper motors that run the tachometer, which is over here. I had to pull the needles off, run the tachometer and the speedometer. So I've cleaned these up good, and we'll have to recalibrate them once we get the power back to it. Things that you want to watch when you're doing these two contacts right here. These two contacts, and over on this side, these two contacts. Okay, they contact these little knobs right here, the back side of these knobs, and you need to clean these really well, because these are for your mode and your reset for your hour or mileage, your odometer and hour meter. Okay, and it hadn't been working in these controls. These knobs haven't been working, and so I'm going to clean those real good. And then these contacts here, there's 12 down here and there's 20 up here. These are the contacts for the little LCD screen. This is the LCD screen, and the contacts on the back of the screen are right here. These look like strips. Look like rubber strips, but there's actually contacts inside there. And so I'm going to make sure and clean those real good as well. This whole housing was broken. You can see there's cracks right here, and it was cracked, completely broken through right here, and broken through to the back. You can see where I've put a bunch of epoxy on there to glue it back together. Hopefully that'll hold up. We're going to clean the speedometer. It's pretty nasty looking. All the gauge inserts, we got a couple of blank outs right here, and there's blanks. These are what the blanks look like. These just snap into the housing right here, and I've got the blanks for this also. But I want to clean all this stuff, and hopefully we'll get this thing back to working again. This circuit board then goes right in here in the back of the housing. These ribbon connectors here plug into the back of the circuit board and run all the lights and everything. And the signal for the gauges are all run through this circuit board, through this connector, and run out these ribbon connectors. Anyhow, that's what I'm into today. I got to resolder this joint, and then I think we'll be ready to put it back together and see if everything's working.